There are 3 toxic beliefs that will bring down your vibration. And I'm going to be using this balloon to show you how that is affecting your life. Now, our guest today is going to represent your state of being. And this little black mark here is going to show you specifically where it aligns on this consciousness map. Now, all of this means is just a way to layer in energy, so different frequencies. Everything in the universe has a specific frequency. So no matter what it is you want right now, maybe it's an amount of money, maybe it's just abundance and that security, maybe it's a relationship or a specific career you want to experience and attract to you. Well, maybe that revolves up here and that lives in the energy around joy and love. So that means that you're going to have to match that energy with that desired experience. When you do this, you'll be able to resonate with it and experience it, attract it to you, perceive of it, all of that. Now, if you have one of these toxic beliefs in your subconscious, what that's going to do is, even if you're visualizing, you're doing all the things, it's going to pull down your vibration because that belief is in the energy of shame and guilt. It's a lower level frequency, so it literally will bring down your vibration. Therefore, all you'll resonate with is something in the realm down here, and that's where the chaos and the stress and the disappointment lives. And so even though you're trying really hard to get to this experience, energetically, you're matching that lower level experience primarily because of your attachment to one or all of those 3 toxic beliefs. Now, what is it that creates your state of being, that part that actually resonates with these different experiences? Well, it's your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions. That energy collectively is what creates your state of being. And whatever your state of being is, whoever you are being, you're going to resonate, you're going to attract, you're going to be a magnet to that corresponding energy. Most people don't go deep enough. They try to change their thoughts, they try to change their feelings, not understanding what is fueling those thoughts is beliefs. So your beliefs fuel or influence heavily your thoughts, what thoughts you think. What thoughts you think are influencing or bringing up different feelings, and those feelings are going to lead you to take certain action or not take certain action. So if we go back to this consciousness map and you're thinking, oh, okay, I want to have that abundance, but you have this belief that goes against that, which we're going to get into what these 3 toxic beliefs are, but you can see here how they build on each other. So even if you're trying to take action from knowing that you want to be in this higher level energy, you're going to be fighting against that belief system, and your subconscious mind, which holds your beliefs, even if they're unconscious, your subconscious mind, by the time you're 35 years old, rules 95% of your life. So if you've been trying to take action, if you're trying to make changes and nothing's happening, it's because this 95% is under the surface influencing everything else and blocking you from experiencing what you really want and keeping you in experiences that you're really, really over and you wish that you could never experience again. The good news is that when you unhook these beliefs and you kick them to the curb, which is where they belong, you're naturally going to elevate your vibration because you're a naturally high vibrational being, but you're attached to this lower level dense energy. And these are simply ideas you have about yourself. They're not truth of the universe. So in this video, I'm going to show you what these 3 toxic beliefs are. I'm going to also be sharing with you sneaky ways in which they could be showing up in your life that you might not be aware the root is actually this toxic belief. And I guarantee that some of you watching will be very surprised, even shocked by some of the action that you take in life, not knowing that the root of why you do it is actually one of these 3 toxic beliefs. I'll be sharing an example from my own life that shocked me, and when I experienced it and I realized what the hell was going on, it completely made me change how I was in the world, my state of being. And when I did, I elevated and started attracting a higher level of experience. And I'll also be sharing with you practical tools that you can use so you can start to make these shifts, start to elevate those energy, kick those toxic beliefs to the curb. So let's dive in. So the first thing we got to look at is, why does your energy even matter? Why are these toxic beliefs so important? Well, like I showed you earlier with the consciousness map, you have to resonate with your desired experience before you actually are able to experience it. If you're like me, I thought, okay, when I get that outside thing to come in, then I'll have proof that I can receive it, that I can experience it. But in the meantime, I kept getting a reflection of who I'm being. Your life will not show you what you want, but it'll always show you who you are being. Thoughts, feelings, and actions, primarily fueled by your beliefs. So energy is everything in the universe. Literally, this dry erase, this piece of wood, the camera, everything actually has a natural frequency, the rate in which it's vibrating. So if you want to have that experience, you have to match it. So some of these experiences that you want, even if that energy starts to approach, you'll actually repel it. And you might be thinking, I don't think if the love of my life started coming towards me, I would actually push them away. Well, have you ever gotten a compliment? Maybe someone says, wow, you look so great today, or wow, that's a really nice shirt or jacket or outfit. And you're like, no, it's not that great. This is really nothing. And you try to push that energy away because you feel their value of you is greater than what you value it. So those energies don't resonate, they don't align, and it feels uncomfortable. So you want to push it away, you want to repel it. And maybe it's not that conscious. Maybe it's more about self-sabotaging behavior. Because those energies don't align and they don't resonate, there's a friction or a tension within you, and you might start self-sabotaging. Maybe you get a really good job and they're paying you what you really want, but you feel like, oh God, something's wrong. They're going to find out I'm a fraud. I don't really deserve this. I'm really not that great. And maybe you start missing work, or maybe you turn in projects because you're overthinking, whatever the case may be. Basically what you'll do is you'll block it because it doesn't resonate with that lower level energy. Now, another huge part of this that a lot of people don't talk about is the idea that out of mind, out of sight. So what I mean by that is if it doesn't align, and this basically represents your belief system, your structure, or your self-image. If you're into Neville Goddard, he calls this a self-concept, but it's a construct, which we'll get into later, of who you believe. And again, a belief is just a really strong opinion. Yes, you've had experiences, but it's the meaning and story as to why that experience happened that creates the belief. So it's not a universal law, meaning it can be changed. But if you have a construct of yourself, maybe you always get dumped, no one loves you, maybe you're always meant to be sad, nothing's meant to work for you, or abundance isn't for you, you're not good enough to get the money, then you're literally, and there's a book, Vital Lies and Simple Truths, that you really can read the ins and outs of how our subconscious works. But your subconscious that filters between 11 to 50 million bits of information per second. It's filtering and letting in that which aligns here energetically, and it's literally blocking out from your conscious awareness anything that disagrees with this belief system. Meaning that you will get more of that to prove that that's who you are. And I recently heard too, you actually get dopamine hits. Like, oh, see, I knew it. It's like a reward system unless you use your conscious awareness to override this. So literally, you won't actually be able to perceive of anything other than those lower level toxic beliefs until you bring them up from the unconscious. You'll look at them in the face and you start becoming aware. So that's how important this is. That's why this matters so much, because you could be doing all the things and your senses can't actually perceive of the things you're actually wanting because you're blocking them out in order to stay safe, which is this construct of who you had to be. It's very reasonable. That was a survival mechanism from when you were a kid. But now it's actually blocking out all the things you want. So it only sends you deeper down this rabbit hole of it's never going to work, I can't do this, or I'm not capable, or I'm not worthy, because you can't perceive of it. And the good news is you can change these, but it's really important to understand how critical it is to let go of these beliefs in order to break free, and how impactful shifting these beliefs will be. It's not just another thing to do. Oh, I have to script. Oh, I have to visualize. Now I have to let go of these beliefs. No, letting go of these beliefs will massively shift the other things you'll do, because you'll be able to start perceiving of things that literally are in your environment right now, but you can't perceive of. Now, the first toxic belief that we have is I am not enough. First toxic belief that will radically lower that vibration. Why? Because if you look at this chart right here, you see that shame, which is something is wrong with me, that is the lowest level vibration, the densest, the heaviest. And if something's heavy, it's going to sink you. It's going to lower that balloon. Now, you might think that a person who has this toxic belief would be really isolated. Maybe they just are depressed and they're by themselves. They just are kind of a ho-hum kind of person. But I'm here to show you and share with you a sneaky way that this belief can show up in an unexpected way. So growing up, high school, college, I was really popular. I had a lot of friends because I like to make people laugh. I like to be very boisterous and, all over the top just to entertain people. I was also a really good athlete in high school and college, and after making a world championship, I always excelled in sports. Now you'd think, wow, this person's really confident. They got it all together. But it wasn't until after I stopped and I looked back, understanding what I do now, that I realized, oh, I wasn't an athlete because it was just something I did because I was so confident. At the root of what I was doing is who I felt I was. I felt I wasn't good enough. So I had to entertain people. I had to provide a value. I had to make them laugh. I had to, get them to like me. Validation seeking because I felt not enough. And what did sports do? It gave me a trophy. Oh, okay, I'm good. I won. Okay, do you like me now? Am I enough now that I have this trophy, that I did this thing? But at the root of all of it was I didn't feel good enough. So no, I wasn't confident. I wasn't so self-assured. I actually was doing all those things, working for validation, working for my worth, because I didn't feel like I was enough. So it can show up in a lot of different ways, but start to look under what you do and why you do it. There's nothing wrong with excelling. There's nothing wrong with getting validation from somebody else. But are you using other people's validation for your sole source of value, of worth? Now, the second toxic belief is I don't deserve. Another way you could think of this is I'm not worthy. So some ways this could show up as somebody who consistently, is self-degrading. Maybe they're always taking themselves out, removing themselves from situations. Oh, no, that's not for me. And, isolating again. But a sneaky way that this could show up could be in the way that maybe nothing's ever good enough for you. Maybe with dating, it's always that person's not good enough. Oh, they did this. I don't want to date them. And yes, boundaries and standards are very important. And it's very important to honor your intuition. But sometimes this belief could show up that you have such a high standard and that no one ever meets that level. Because what does that do? That keeps people at a distance. And if they're at a distance, they won't come close and reveal that you actually aren't deserving, that they're going to catch you. You're a fraud. You're not really good enough to love, whatever it is that belief is in your head. And this could also be for a job. Maybe you're like, no, they don't deserve me. I deserve more. I'm not going to take that job. Who do they think they are? They're going to take advantage of me. I deserve more. But even though the external looks like you have a really high standard of yourself, again, keeping those opportunities distant, because really at the bottom of it, you actually don't feel like you deserve it. So that is a sneaky way that this toxic belief could actually be lowering your energy, even though externally it seems like you feel differently about yourself. And the last toxic belief is I am not whole. I am not complete as I am. Something's missing. Everything something's wrong with me. And I need something outside of myself in order to be whole. Now, every human is a soul. We are spiritual being in this human, confusing, frustrating experience. So a sneaky way that this could show up is maybe for me, it was a relationship. I pretended and I went around and I was a good athlete and I was a go-getter. And I did a lot in the world and I seemed very confident, but really I didn't feel whole. I didn't feel complete unless I had a relationship. So I was obsessed I will say low key, but anyone around me knew how obsessed I was about relationships before I had a lot of internal shifts and resolved, let these beliefs go. But I was obsessed with relationships, thinking, oh no, I just, like to have somebody in my life. But really, there was an intensity because I didn't feel whole. If this person would be in my life, then I would be whole and then life would be better. I'd be able to actually experience life because I would then have everything I needed. Now, another way this could show up is maybe it's work, that you use something outside of you as basically a pillar. Look at me and this. Then I am whole and complete. And then people will love at me or accept me and I'll get my needs met. But without this work thing, without this relationship, without this thing I do in life, I'm not whole and complete. So really starting to look, is there something in your life that you identify so strongly with? Because maybe at the depth and at the root of everything, you might not feel whole and complete. Now, again, these are all distortions of yourself. They're not true. In this next part of the video, I'm going to get into where they came from because I believe that's the first step to understanding how to actually let them go, transmute that energy, and let that balloon go up. Now, why do you even have these toxic beliefs? I feel that understanding the origins of where these came from and how they were constructed helps you to see them from your higher level of mind and shift your perspective. Because a belief, these toxic beliefs, are simply strong opinions and absolutely not invalidating experiences you've had. But the level of mind, little you, did not have the tools to see them accurately. So let me show you more what I mean. So here you are, little you, and your caregiver. And to note, we are not looking to shame, blame, guilt, any sort of that, your caregiver, whoever this was. This could be your biological birth parents, this could be grandparents, family, whoever it was. An adult who you relied on for survival, for safety, both physical, mental, and psychological. So what we want to do here is focus and honor your experience. Maybe this person was your mom and they had such a good intention and they really wanted you to have everything that you possibly would need. But the way they grew up, they felt that was about money. So they actually took on an extra job and they worked and worked and worked so much that you actually didn't get to interact much. And maybe when you did go to try to connect, to get that emotional connection with your parent, they said, oh, I don't have time for that. Can't you see that I'm doing something important? So realize that under the age of 8 years old, that you're in mostly theta brainwave, meaning that it's going directly into your subconscious, because that is the brainwave of your subconscious. And you don't have the ability to reason. You don't have the ability to see something, think about it, and really properly put the understanding of why that happened. What you heard is, this is important, you not important. If you were more important, then she would be able to connect with you. So you must not be enough. Now, one way to start to see this is, oh, okay, maybe my caregiver was really overwhelmed. Maybe they emotionally lacked the maturity that you needed. The biggest thing to see here is you are not wrong or too much for having a need. This person's inability to meet it was the insufficiency, the thing that was lacking, not you. But your mind, it wasn't fully developed. You didn't have the complex ability to think as you do right now. You think I'm not enough. And so that gets stored in that box. This is your self-image. These are your belief systems, your programs. And unless you do what you're doing right now, looking back, shifting your perspective, it will run your life. So maybe this caregiver was not very nice. Maybe they were very mean. Maybe they were very abusive. And the way they treated you was really bad. And you thought, well, if I was worth more, they would actually treat me better. So I must not deserve. I'm not worthy. And the other thing that's really, really important to understand is, because of the power dynamics here, this person is basically your only chance at survival. Physical survival being the most important. They know better, they're bigger, they know how to operate in the world, they know how to get money, they know how to drive cars, get on the bus, etc. They know how to get more food, provide shelter. You at this age, you can't survive. So you are saying, okay, my bet is that you know better than me. Unfortunately, that also goes under the umbrella of, which is not the case. A lot of times caregivers are highly emotionally immature, and as a kid, we think it's us. So in that situation, you might have thought how they treated you was a reflection of your value, and it's not. You can see with your adult mind now that that person really had trauma. They had their own shit. They didn't have the tools, and they were incapable of matching you and honoring you or seeing your worth because they probably didn't see theirs. That's not to put them off the hook or say that was fine, but it's to honor that you were never undeserving. Maybe this caregiver consistently was emotionally enmeshed with somebody else. Maybe you grew up in dynamics where you saw, okay, this person can't operate in the world unless they have someone else, unless they have this thing. Your little sweet brain that wasn't fully developed thought, oh, I'm not whole, or I'm not complete, or I need something outside of me in order to be seen as valuable. So any of these, you can start to see, oh, okay, I was relying on this person. It wasn't something you thought, and okay, I gotta put all my cards in this person here. My survival depends on it. You're not aware of this. Fitting in and being accepted by this person or this primary culture. Another thing you could have done is said no or repressed parts of yourself. That when you were out and you were celebrating and you were showing your talent, what is wrong with you? Why are you being so boastful? You know, and then you could think, okay, I'm not deserving. I'm doing something wrong. I need to suppress that. And now you walk around, you're like, okay, no, I don't want any limelight. Nope. And you start self-sabotaging because you think that getting attention is wrong. And if you're wrong, you won't be loved. If you're not loved, you won't have a need met. So you can start to see how intertwined and complex this is. That one of these 3 toxic beliefs is something you have, which I had basically all 3 of these. So the great news is you can let these go. You can move off from these, and your energy will shift up as you learn to let go. But now that you're aware of these, the next step is how. Well, this next video right here is going to show you exactly how, a step-by-step process of how you can change your beliefs, fully transmute that energy, and let these beliefs go.